Okay, everybody, so welcome back. This is Ian from Mindful Marketplace, and here's yet another video as I'm documenting the public build of I can't even speak, I'm documenting building a brand new brand in public in a really cool and creative niche, which is publishing tiny books, tiny products, tiny courses, tiny podcasts, and pretty much all sorts of tiny products that build your brand, your business, and ultimately your bank account. Now, actually, I should restate that: build my brand, my business, and our bank account. This is not something that I'm teaching others to do. I'm actually doing it. And that really is part of the spirit of today's really quick tutorial. I'm going to teach you, or let me restate that as well. I'm going to show you what we're building and why we're building it and why I think it matters and why we've picked the platform that we picked, which in this case is the Ghost platform. This is a brand new installation of Ghost on the 11th of January 2022. The posts, for those of you who are familiar with either WordPress or Ghost, you can see these are just the default posts that come with the install. So there's no content here yet. It's running the default theme, the default, everything is set up as, with what you get when you install Ghost on a new site. We're going to be removing all this stuff, obviously, putting in a new theme. I did actually add a premium theme that I'm not going to be using, just to kind of, just which is my own process flow, but it really doesn't need to be, explained. In other words, I did do one thing, which was I added a premium theme that I purchased, but it's not a theme we're going to be using for this particular project, so I'm not going to show that to you at this stage. But what I am going to be doing is covering a couple of the steps that I think everybody who wants to mimic or emulate or copy this approach can actually do for themselves. So the community is again for tiny books, tiny courses, tiny products, and it has an inspirational or empowering or uplifting bent. So we are going to be creating a shitload of tiny books in 2022 that are going to be published on Amazon. So that's idea. Why is that not dragging over? Oh, because that wasn't set up yet. All right. So step one is content creation. This is not and specifically writing tiny books. All right, so this is really the most important thing to me. And I'm going to say this carefully, and I don't want to offend anybody, and I'm certainly going to lose a few followers, friends, fans, whatever the right phrase is. But there's nothing worse to me than seeing all of the people who teach, and I'm putting this in quotes, entrepreneurial, kind of strategy or whatever, who don't actually build real things in the world. Like everyone that I see in my own entrepreneurial orbit who is like building something right now, they're always teaching other people how to do it. They're not actually building anything. And, there's that old phrase, those who can do, those who can't teach. Nowhere is that really more evident to me or obvious than in the entrepreneurial niches. And I find that it's not only not meaningful to kind of position yourself in that sort of way, like doing work that is really only about kind of edifying your own ego or making it look like you are the guru or the thought leader or the best person at this, that, or the other thing, rather than building something that matters in the world, right? And so I just decided that while that's never really been my complete path, it's been too much of the work that I've been doing recently has been like sort of teaching courses on how to build a business online. And I said, you know what, fuck it. That doesn't make me happy. I don't see people really getting phenomenal results from that. So I want to do something actually in 2022 that goes back to my own kind of roots and build something that matters, like create content around mindfulness and meditation, and spiritual growth, personal development, mental health, wellness, and and happiness, all that sort of stuff. And I want to recruit other artists and authors and entrepreneurs who want to do the same thing and be part of our new community. And I don't want to teach them how to make money, although that may be some of what we do just by accident. But I do want to partner with other inspirational entrepreneurs who want to join us on a journey and build a brand that really makes a meaningful difference in the world. So we want to write books. All right. Number two, I want to build, and I'm doing this because people are asking about the way that I've conceptualized our software stack. So I'm going to tell you why we're going the direction that we're going. So step number two is or step idea number two, or core, idea number two is I want to attract authors and artists I am like writing like in a kind of like reclining position, which I'm finding ain't so impressive. So I'm going to sit up. All right. So I want to attract authors and artists who share our ethos and approach. And this is why Ghost for me is the best platform. So Ghost is perfect. And I'm going to show you how to do this just because I can't help myself. I keep saying I'm not going to be teaching this stuff, but I know people want to do this. So Ghost is ideal because it allows all right, so Ghost is ideal because it allows us to build a multi-author, multi-vendor style platform without any extra tools, right? So I don't need a plugin with WordPress. I don't need any of that stuff to just launch a multi-author community with a marketplace functionality and all sorts of extra cool stuff built into its bones, right? So WordPress can do this, but it just gets very challenging and it can get sort of wrangling with the tech, and it just gets frustrating, annoying, and overly complex. So we also want to include a combination of gated content for the public, gated content, free public content, and fee-based tiers, right? So the big idea here is that we're going to be selling books that give access to our courses and our community by dint of having purchased the book. So there's a whole workflow that that I want to demonstrate over the course of the next year that I think is really, really going to be transformative for those of you who are building these sorts of communities where you're using content like NFTs, books, and that sort of stuff to offer access to your community. So, without getting too far into the weeds with this right now, we're going to be selling a lot of content that is going to give people, both the public and our professional peers, access to gated content, and we're going to be using the Ghost membership functionality feature set in order to deliver on that. All right, so there's that piece as well. And if you go into Ghost, and if I just show you really quickly some of the ways that you can, some of their new features are really ideal for these sorts of platforms, right? So I can give my fellow authors, our professional peers, the ability to add all of their own products, their own files, their own audios, their own videos, their own call out boxes, their own restriction, uh, teasers so they can restrict content, at a certain point in their own post if they want, using something like this, whereas everything above this line and everything all right, so everything above this line is free. Everything below this line is members only and fee based. And there's just so many cool things you can now do with Ghost natively that you would have needed a Gumroad or a Podia or a similar style digital storefront software. I still recommend using those in lots of use cases. We are going to continue to use our own Podia account to deliver lots of our course content. You can see that partners.mindfulmarketplace.com if you want to see an example of what a course community built on Podia looks like. And we're still going to be recommending that to our partners and our authors and the fellow artists and entrepreneurs that join us in this new community. But you don't have to anymore. Ghost can act as a catch-all umbrella sort of platform for building a really, really professional publishing platform on a bootstrap budget and doing it beautifully, right? One of the things you can't do on some of these other platforms is customize your brand experience the way you can on Ghost, right? And I've covered this before, but you can't modify Gumroad all that much. I mean, you're selling Gumroad products. Your Gumroad products look pretty much like every other Gumroad product in the world. Well, same thing with Podia to some degree. Podia has a little bit more flexibility, but with Ghost, I mean, you can literally, by theming or skinning your site, you can create these really, really customized brand experiences that are 100% unique to you, contingent a little bit on your familiarity with CSS and your ability to really customize something in a cool and creative way. But I'm going to show you how to do that. You can even take a peek at our Ghost membership site now, which is enlightenup.mindfulmarketplace.com, which has a little bit of that customization with colors and so forth, so you get an idea of what I'm referring to there. All right, so anyway, we're going to be creating a whole slew of PDFs that will cover this over the course of the next few months, so you'll see exactly what we're doing with respect to building our tiny brand. Again, this is not for teaching entrepreneurialism, so to speak. I'm interested in building in public for the public accountability piece, for inspiring strangers out there in the world who I'll never meet, people who might need like a little sort of helping hand to visualize how some of this stuff is done. But I'm not so interested anymore in being somebody who, kind of teaches entrepreneurialism to the public, right? People who just aren't going to ever do anything with the ideas. I want to share something really quickly, and then I'm going to shut up. I had a conversation this morning with a client who's struggling with conversion. They're struggling to convert. He and his wife are really smart, really inspirational entrepreneurs, but they're struggling to convert their subscribers into sales, right? They have a fairly significant sized list, and they're struggling to actually make sales. And one of the things that I find so interesting about the commonality of experience in the entrepreneurial kind of universe is I can't tell you how many times I have thousands of people on our newsletter list, and yet every time I send an email announcing something is coming, I get the same core, let's say 50 people over and over again will respond to everything that I send out with some degree of interest, like usually a lot of interest. And these are people that I know going back years. Often 4 and 5 years ago, I've had conversations with them by email, a couple of them by phone, and they've never actually done anything. Like the same people, year after year after year, will express interest in pretty much everything that I offer, and yet if I ask them, well, what exactly do you want to do in 2022? What is your goal this year? What does your business look like in 30 days, in 90 days? What is the specific idea that you want to work on next? It's crickets. They don't respond, or if they do respond, they tell me they're going to get back to me. but they have this great idea. Or I get lots of people who want to write a book, and they tell me they want to write a book, with us, with our studio. And then I'll say, okay, tell me a little bit about exactly, you know, where you need help, where you stuck. What can we do specifically today to help you start? Nothing, right? And I do that by design because people are, by and large, they will sap your attention to the point of evaporating whatever enthusiasm you have for a project. You have to be very careful with the people that you attract into your orbit because there are lots of good people who are good parents and good brothers and good siblings and good spouses and good neighbors and good everything, but they're not good entrepreneurs. And that makes them shitty people to like have in your attention orbit, right? Because you will spend all of your time constantly trying to nudge them in various ways to make progress in their own lives when it comes to their businesses. They may be great at everything else. They may be super great parents and they may do all these things really, really well that are really admirable, but they're not good entrepreneurs. And they're not entrepreneurs at all. I can think of, as I'm saying these words, 10 people in the last day that have sent me, or last 72 hours, that have sent me some sort of enthusiastic response to joining our next journey as a client. And when I just add a little bit of qualification, like what exactly is the one idea, because they'll always tell me they have lots of great ideas. What is the one idea right now you're most excited about, and what's the next step you're going to take to actually bring that idea to life? Or how can we do that together? Crickets, right? And I do that again with the sort of knowledge that that's the level of kind of, stick to itiveness and commitment they're going to bring to bear, and that's why I don't want them in my universe. So anyway, I know that's probably lost me a couple friends or followers or fans or potential clients, but it's true. And if that sounds like you, like the couple I was just talking about, don't waste your time. Like, be ruthless and relentless with getting people in your business orbit who are actually on the same journey as you are, not who don't constantly plan and plan and plan about being on a journey they're never going to take, and they'll bring you back to square one with them if you're tethering your income or your impact or your own sense of community contribution, etc., to their wagon. And again, I want to say this one last time. The people that I see, by and large, like in all the entrepreneurial sort of arenas in which I participate, they're all like that. I mean, the people who are creating communities, let's say on Circle. Circle's great software. I love it. It's a fantastic platform. They have a great owners community. But if you look in that owners community, 9 out of 10 people who are using Circle are using it to teach other entrepreneurs how to make money. They've never built anything of their own. They've never created anything worthwhile other than teaching people how to make money. That's not a real thing, right? That's the easy way. The hard way is to build something from scratch that actually reaches mothers and fathers and grandparents and kids and teaches and inspires in areas that have nothing to do with making a living online, that actually empower and inspire people in real ways in the real world. So that's what we're focused on. That's what I care about. And that's why this year I'm stopping a lot of the public sort of videos about how to, make money on the internet. And rather, I actually want to build a brand, and I want people to join us for that inside our community rather than on YouTube watching an occasional, video about software. So I'm going to try to stick to that. Which is why I'm committing to it publicly, rather than kind of going back on my word and recording more videos in a week for YouTube on how to build X, Y, or Z. All right, so all this going forward is going to be in our private community. And what I'm really looking for are people who want to join us on the journey of actually making money as an author or an artist or a maker or a creative or somebody who has an inspirational message that they want to share with the world in 2022 and beyond. Okie doke. We're building all this on Ghost. We're also using another community building or community software alternative to Circle that I'm excited about, that's brand new, that most people have never heard of. But I'll be sharing that in another video, again, in our private cohort. Teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. And if I can help you in any way, feel free to reach out. Thanks.